And I really thank the board for allowing me to speak to y'all outside in the candidate room. It's not what I thought it was going to be. I thought we were going to be in a green room like I don't live in and get all Browns out. That didn't work out so well. Took good care of us out there. But I was an original member, a board member for the DSAMC, which was the precursor to the Montgomery County Law Enforcement Association. So it means a lot to present before y'all, and also the Conroe PD. I saw what could be done during the days of McLeod, whenever we got civil service passed with the sheriff's office. That was huge for the department, and it was done through collaboration with employees and the association. So I know what you guys are about, and I appreciate the service that you have. Well, I'm Ray Henderson. I'm the patrol captain with the sheriff's office. I've been with the sheriff's office as of next month for 21 years. So a little bit about myself. Live in Willis. My wife, Christina, teaches 11th grade English at Willis High School. We've got two beautiful kids, 10 and 12 years old. We attend First Presbyterian Church in Conroe. So we're members of the community for well over 20 years now in the Conroe community and Montgomery County in general. About my career, I went to Sam Houston. I didn't wait tables like most other college kids. My job was guarding convicts at the Wall Unit in downtown Huntsville. So I did that. After I finished school, I went to the police academy directly after that, and then went to work for the sheriff's office, where I've spent my entire law enforcement career. Started as a Woodlands Patrol deputy, worked my way through the department. Every job that I ever got, I was asked to take a leadership role. So I worked really hard to make sure that I was able to do that and keep moving forward throughout my career. So here I am, serve as the patrol captain now, which is a division manager. If you're not familiar with our rank structure. And I've also served as the jail captain, so which is the sheriff's biggest liability. It's the number one thing that the sheriff's got to do. So we're talking about almost 300 employees and a budget that I manage of $36 billion. That's a lot of taxpayer dollars that we work really hard to spend efficiently and effectively. So that's a quick synopsis of me, and I appreciate any questions you have to ask.
First question. In your opinion, what are the biggest issues facing the sheriff's office at this time?
It's absolutely going to be the growth. Where Judge Doyle recently quoted from Houston Business Journal that we're the third fastest growing county in the nation. I think that's right. Is that right? What was the number? Texas. Texas. Okay, seventh in the nation. Seventh in the nation, third in the state of Texas. Thanks, Kate. So managing the growth is huge. With the sheriff's office fully staffed, we're well understaffed. That's always been our problem. And the issue with that is that the sheriff's office is designed to be a rural law enforcement agency. That's not the case. Montgomery County is one of the outliers in the state of Texas. We're a county with about 500,000 people, and our unincorporated population, which is what the sheriff's office is responsible for, is somewhere around 70–75%, depending on what Conroe's annexed lately. So we're responsible for all that's outside of the city. So fully staffed, we're understaffed. So staffing is paramount because staffing equals safety. Staffing equals safety not only for the deputies, but also for the the people that we're responding to help. We got to be able to get to you in a timely manner. So better staffing helps get us there. So I would say by far number one would be staffing.
Thanks, Karen. Do you feel that the sheriff's office is where it needs to be in this day and age with all the technology that is available to law enforcement?
I think we're pretty impressive when it comes to technology. We're a 100% mobile video department. We have been since 2004, which means every one of our patrol cars used to make traffic stops has mobile video cameras. We have about 30 body cameras. Every car has a computer in it. Every deputy, just about every deputy, has a take-home car. So yeah, we're doing really good when it comes to those things. What we've been lagging behind in was our records management system. And that's something that our leadership team has worked really hard to put together. And we're seeing the fruition of that right now because we're seeing that Spillman coming online here in early December. So that's huge because Conroe PD is on the same system. So I would say that but Spillman's going to make us where we need to be. What Spillman's going to allow us to do is share information across jurisdictional lines. So crooks don't know what jurisdictional lines are, and they don't care. We cops are the only ones that care about those lines. So what we're going to be able to do is collaborate with the city of Conroe We're going to be able to collaborate with the constable's office. We're going to be able to collaborate with all the cities in Montgomery County that we can get on the system. Hopefully we'll have 100% on the system. So we'll be able to share offense reports, crime analysis data. We'll be able to share dispatch information so we know where the units are, we know where backup is, and how close it can be. And that's going to be paramount in 21st century policing in Montgomery County. And it's coming to reality right now.
Deputy Captain. It's kind of a broad question, but I'm sure you can narrow it down. What would, if you're elected sheriff, what is your number one goal? What's your passion?
My number one goal is to transform our traditional law enforcement agency into a community policing agency. And community policing is my passion, and it has been for a very long time. I returned to Sam Houston in 2007 and got my master's degree. And I was given the opportunity to continue teaching at college afterwards. So I teach a community policing class at Sam Houston. As a brand new Woodlands Patrol deputy, I was indoctrinated into community policing. So working closely with the community to help solve crime issues, to make sure that there's a bilateral communication flow between the public and the police officers that serve them. Deputies that work in the same area on a regular basis, so they get to know the community. They know the idiosyncrasies of the community. And that's what we need to be more effective and efficient in doing our jobs. Traditional law enforcement agency that we are now has a different structure. So what I envision is to have a more flat chain of command structure. So it gives the line level deputy more autonomy, an ability to do his job. We have more faith and trust in them. We're going to continue to train them to make sure that that trust is warranted. And we're going to model what's in the Woodlands now. The Woodlands is doing a really good job of community policing. We want to model that and try to generalize that throughout the department. But in order to do that, you have to have a complete philosophical shift from a traditional agency to a modern community policing agency. That's my passion, that's what I love, and that's what I pledge to you to do.
Yeah. It's a bit of a two-part question. What is your stance on the Second Amendment? And if you were sheriff, would you continue to sign off on federal firearm Class 3 applications for county citizens?
Okay, well, the second one's easy. Yes, I would. As far as the stance on the Second Amendment, I'm a staunch Second Amendment supporter. Firmly believe in your right to keep and bear arms. I believe that a public that has weapons is a more protected public. They're able to protect themselves. You don't need the police to watch over you and take care of you like a child. If you've got that gun and you've got an intruder coming into your house, you can take care of business. We'll get there when we get there, and we'll help you clean up the mess. So I firmly believe that you should have that gun, but you should know how to use it. You should be trained. I believe in concealed handgun. I believe we're going to have a few challenges right off the bat whenever we have open carry. And I think we're going to be able to overcome those. Just like it was thought that there were going to be these roving gun battles going up and down the freeway when we had concealed carry. Well, that never happened. So I think we're going to see some issues with open carry that we'll be able to work through. But I support it. I don't think the public in Texas right now is quite ready for constitutional carry, but I think we're going to work up to that. We're taking baby steps. We're just getting the public used to different levels of being able to carry that firearm. And when constitutional carry gets passed, Brandon Creighton is a big supporter of it, and he's a pretty good legislator, so he just may get that through himself, and I would wholly support that as well.
Captain, thank you for coming. You talked about manpower in one of your opening statements. What do you plan to do to bring qualified applicants to the Sheriff's Department, and how do you plan to keep them here?
I'm over the recruiting unit now, and I see the struggles that we have. A lot of it is economy-based. When the oil field has been good, our applicant pool has been not good. So even though we get people in the door, we're very particular about who we hire. And we have to maintain those standards so that we don't get our badges tarnished. And even with the impeccable standards that I think we have, they still do get tarnished because we let some slip through the cracks every now and again. But recruiting is not a Montgomery County problem, it's a nationwide problem. There are many agencies that are having a difficult time getting qualified applicants through the door to even be able to test them. So we're working now on trying to solve some of those problems. Obviously better benefits would help some. I was talking to a doctor today that was going through our insurance policy. So he was doing a little more about that. and he ran one through just to see a test of what our insurance would pay for, and he described it as sporty. So our insurance is not good. We need some help there, because we pay a lot of money out of pocket. We're cops, we're not rich people. It's great that we have insurance, but the reason you work for the government is because of that benefit offset. We don't get to make the huge money that's made in the private sector. So being a government worker, we kind of look to those benefits as a recruiting tool. So benefits is big, longevity is enormous. Do you want a snotty-nosed 21-year-old rookie coming to your house because that's all we got? Or do you want a wily veteran that's been there, done that, you're not going to get him excited about anything? Well, I think our current administration answered that question by creating our salary step schedule. And it has been a battle every year in Commissioner's Court to try to keep our salary step schedule. But so far we've been successful in doing so. It's been modified for the better. Salaries have come a long way from my $19,000, I take it back, $21,000 starting salary. I took a pay cut from the prison to come to work here. So we've come a long ways at all levels. And yeah, it can always be better. The retention, the revolving door isn't nearly what it used to be. And I think a lot of that is the step schedule. So I pledge to fight to keep and improve the step schedule. Work with my partners. I'm going to have partners in Commissioner's Court and the county judge. Plan to work with those partners to improve our benefits as best we can. If we can't improve for the whole county, law enforcement takes that stand. Y'all got civil service passed. I want to work with you to make improvements on those fronts too.
Given modern history, most sheriffs serve more than one term. If elected sheriff, you would more than likely be in office after the next census. Are any of your current plans taken into consideration for all the changes that come with a population count of over 500,000?
That's a great question. And yeah, I'm a young man. Tomorrow's my birthday. I'll be 45 years old, so I do plan to stick around for a little while. 21 years, 45 years old, my career's got a long ways to go. So yeah, obviously I've got plans to serve more than one term. I do plan to be here in 2020. Whenever our census data puts us well over 500,000, which what that does, it moves us from Civil Service Part A, which is what we operate under right now, which is County Civil Service. It'll move us to Civil Service Part B, which is a standalone Sheriff's Civil Service. So with that, we have to develop policies and a board that address recruitment, promotion, termination. All of that is covered under Civil Service Part B, which it's not now. It's just set by sheriff's policy. So we'll be having an outside board. Now, of course, the sheriff will be able to appoint one, then the commissioners appoint the other two civil service directors. So we'll have some influence there to be able to work with those. But my goal is to not make that a big step. We can go ahead, we already are taking a lot of steps, to go ahead and make policy to get prepared to operate under Civil Service Part B now. So whenever they tell us we got to do it, we've already done it. So I don't foresee it being an issue. I look forward to it, to taking the element of bias out as best we can. I look forward to having an opportunity to maybe bring in an outside testing company to develop our tests to help get the best applicants tested and move forward to oral boards. And just so the employees have a sense of assurance that what we're doing at the administrative level has their best interest in mind and is fair. And that's what I've always pledged to you, is that I'll be fair.
Thank you.
What are your goals to make this a better sheriff's office for its employees? I think you kind of touched on it already, but I asked the last candidate that.
Well, I came from the lowest ranks. I was a patrol deputy. I know what it feels like. I know what the job is like. Yeah, it's changed a little bit, but being a cop is still being a cop. The technology is really all that's changed over the years. The video cameras have changed and modified that. But I know where I come from, and I'm never going to forget that. So I think the number one thing that would improve the sheriff's office as we see it today is enhanced communication. I think that we fail to communicate with the line level from the upper levels, and that's something that needs to be addressed and improved on, and it's something that we can work on now. But for sure, whenever I got the keys, that flatter rank structure that I was referring to has less impediments. So I have more faith and the guys to do the job that they're charged to do, to carry out their oath to protect, preserve, and defend. So it's their have the ability to take information. For example, I just had a DWI policy that was rewritten by a line level deputy. I'm really proud of that. And the reason he did that is because he was an expert in the field. He had 74 DWIs last year. The dude's good. He's really good at what he does, but he's also a call responsive deputy with no rank. So he felt comfortable enough to say, hey, Cap, we got some problems with the SOP. Do you mind if I work on it? And I couldn't have been prouder. So yeah, absolutely. Let's work on this. And so we have line level buy-in. He's 3 ranks below me. Line level buy-in to work together collaboratively to rewrite this policy. And it benefited the entire department. It benefited the DA's office. It benefited the defendants. It benefited the defense attorneys. It benefited everyone. It's because it's a better, more comprehensive policy. And that's because he had faith in his administration to come talk to me. And if we can do that, I think we can conquer the world.
Due to the recent events in Ferguson, Baltimore, that only being 2 of, and you've already answered the question, but if you want to add to it, you can. What is your opinion on community-oriented policing, and does it work? Does the model work?
If community-oriented policing existed in some of these communities, the riots wouldn't have happened, or the riots certainly would have been minimized. In a community policing department, the way the riots would have happened is because you had those invading hordes that came in that didn't live in Ferguson, that started with all the problems and created all the hate and discontent, and got them upset and made them riot. In Montgomery County, you'll never see a Ferguson. And the beauty of that is because you elect the sheriff. The sheriff is put there by you. So it's not like the Houston, where you've got the urban center is an appointed police chief. The largest department in the county is by far the sheriff's office. So it's put there by an elected official. So you have the ear, or he has your ear. You know, his ear. So that's important. I have no fear of body cameras. Like I mentioned earlier, we've been a 100% video department for a very long time. Our deputies are used to having the armchair quarterbacking of the work that they do. Most of the time it's to their benefit, because when they get a complaint, somebody's lying out of left field, we review the video, even offer the complainant an opportunity to see the video. Most of the time they say, no, that's okay, never mind, we don't even brought it up. So body cameras, got no fear of that. We've got about 30 issued right now. Our fear with body cameras and some of this other stuff is the infrastructure that goes behind it. It's not the actual use of it. It's the guy that's a YouTuber that's making a living off of cop videos. It's the person that puts in tons of open records requests, which creates an entire division for us. It's what we need to be able to process the video evidence that's being requested. That's the issue, is the infrastructure behind it. But I welcome cameras. I think the deputies welcome cameras. I've had a lot that have requested them, so I'm going to buy more. So if you ask for one, you get to go the first one. So in other words, community trust is what prevents a Ferguson from happening. And I pledge that communication with the community, the open channels of communication with them. So we'll never have an issue like that because they trust their law enforcement agency.
Thanks, Captain. Just in closing, is there anything you'd like to add?
Well, I'm done.
With us? Just us.
Okay. In closing, yeah, with the sheriff's office, I've truly enjoyed my time there. And I started as a line level deputy thinking, you know, I don't know how long I'm going to stay here, but I fell in love with the department. I fell in love with the community, and I just kept promoting. I kept being looked to as a leader, no matter what the rank was, and I kept being asked to take the next step. And then I became a sergeant. And then I moved to a different district and just absolutely loved my job even more. And then I did that for a couple of years, and I was promoted to lieutenant. And not only was I promoted to lieutenant, I was able to serve 3 different positions as a lieutenant. I was the first ever official public information officer or media correspondent. Thank you, Scott Engle. We worked together quite a bit back in the day, and that was a position that had never been held before in the sheriff's office. Served as field training coordinator. Created the first website of any use for the sheriff's office. There was a placeholder there, but I took that over and used some innovation. That's the website that we use to this day. I still serve as the web administrator since 2002. I was able to work in internal affairs, not my dream job. I was a district patrol lieutenant the first year of Sheriff Gage's office. And so he asked me to take the challenge of going to internal affairs, and it really expanded my career, and I learned about administration, and I learned about how to deal with problem employees at that level. And it just prepared me for the next step. And then the sheriff calls me in and asks me to be one of his captains. That's a really big deal and a tremendous honor, because I promoted 4 years into his administration. So that's a lot of faith and confidence for a kid that was only 37 years old when he got promoted to a full division manager for the sheriff's office. So I've served in that role and held 2 different commands, both jail and patrol. So I'm prepared. I've done all the work that it takes. I'm a graduate of the FBI National Academy, Session 232. I'm very proud of that. I'm a graduate of the Leadership Command College, Session number 48. So technically, I'm also very proud of that. I got my master's degree. It's all in preparation for the next step. So I'm ready to take the next step, and I want to become your sheriff. And I really look forward to getting the endorsement from this group. Thank you.
Good evening, Deb.
Howdy.
You got pretty easy. I have one question on my side. So, if elected the sheriff, is there anything that you would change between the sheriff's department and the city of Mountain Police Department?
Absolutely. I've already started working with Chief Dupuy at my level and trying to influence the current administration to try to increase communication between the 2 agencies. We're the largest law enforcement agency. Conroe is second. I think Chief Christie said y'all are 134 officers and just growing. The annexation's getting bigger and bigger. I mentioned Spillman. That's huge. We're gonna break down those communication barriers through technology. But I know the guys in the patrol car. I've worked District 1. I've worked with Conroe PD. The guys in the patrol cars have always gotten along. They're brothers. They always will be. It's the guys sitting behind the desk that we've got to get working in the right direction. So Dupuy and I, we have a good relationship. It's Dupuy, so we go back and forth a lot. We also go to Lions Club, so we have lunch together once a week, me and him and Jeff Christie. So we not only have lunch and have a good time serving the community, but we're also able to talk some shop. And he just brings up issues, I bring up issues, and we get things resolved. Don't think that Conroe PD's addition to MoCo was by accident. We worked hard to make that happen. We had a task force way back in the day. It was a narcotics task force. We got disbanded. But we've got a new one now, and we're rebuilding those relationships by adding Conroe PD. We've added Constable Hayden. First, as far as we know, the first constable ever added to a narcotic task force run by HIDA, which is a federal program. I won't get into that. But breaking down those communication lines and increasing crime analysis between the 2 agencies, I can't wait. I think we can do great things in solving crime. We can move from a reactive department that just runs calls to a proactive department that doesn't just drive around waiting for calls to drop. We actually are directed to calls because we've got good crime analysis. And it's not just sheriff's crime analysis. It's PD crime analysis. All the PDs, all the constables, and what we can get from surrounding jurisdictions. The more information you have, the better your analysis is. Then we can direct the patrol officers and the deputies to go to certain areas to try to find the crime that we think may be happening. It's called predictive analysis. And I think when we get that much crime data, we can do it. And I can't wait. We're going to be unstoppable.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.